Shalom. Welcome to day 2 of week 11 in the Bible in a Year Live Tanakh project. We continue in the story of Joshua, and today, chapter 9 to 11, we'll see where Israel is deceived by the Gibeonites into making a treaty. Yet God still honors his people and defends them when the Gibeonites are attacked. The Lord fights for Israel, even stopping the sun in the sky as they defeat their enemies. Then chapter 11 shows how God gives Israel victory over many kings, reminding them that the battles are his and he is faithful to fulfill his promises. So with that, let's look at the details as we dive into today's reading. Joshua chapter 9. When all the kings on the west side of the Yarden in the hills, in the Shephelah, and all along the shore of the great sea that fronts the Lebanon, the Hittite, Amori, Canaanite, Perizzi, Hivi, and Uvisi, heard what had happened, they joined forces to fight together against Joshua and Israel. But when the inhabitants of Gibeah heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, they developed a clever deception. They made themselves look as if they had been on a long journey by putting on old sacks on their donkeys and taking used wineskins that had burst and been mended back together. They put old patched sandals on their feet and dressed in worn out clothes, and took as provisions nothing but dried up bread that was crumbling to pieces. Then they went to Joshua in the camp at Gilgal and said to him and the men of Israel, "We have come from a country far away. Now make a covenant with us." The men of Israel said to the Hivi, "How do we know that you don't live here among us? If you do, we don't want to make a covenant with you." But they answered Yehoshua, "We are your servants." Yehoshua asked, "Who are you and where do you come from?" They answered him, "Your servants have come from a very distant country because of the reputation of Adonai your God. We have heard reports about him, everything he did in Egypt, and everything he did to the two kings of the Amori across the Yarden, Shishkan, king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, at Ashtaroth. So our leaders and all the people living in our country said to us, 'Take provisions with you for your journey. Go to beat them, and say to them, We are your servants, and now make a covenant with us. Here is the bread which we took for our provisions. It was still warm when we took it out of our homes the day we left to come to you. Now look at it. It's dry and turned to crumbs. And these wineskins were new when we filled them, but look, now they're torn. Likewise, these clothes of ours and our shoes are worn out because of the very long journey." The men sampled some of their food but didn't seek the advice of Adonai. So Joshua made peace with them and made a covenant with them to spare their lives, and the leading officials of the community swore to them. But 3 days later, after they had made the covenant with them, they heard that they were their neighbors, that they lived there with them. The people of Israel traveled and arrived at their cities on the third day. Their cities were Givon, Kephirah, Beeroth, and Kiriath Yearim. The people of Israel did not attack them because the leading officials of the community had sworn to them by Adonai, God of Israel. But all the community grumbled against the leaders. However, the leaders replied to the whole community, "We have sworn to them by Adonai, the God of Israel, so we can't touch them. Here is what we will do to them. We will let them live so that God's anger will not burn on us because of the oath we swore to him. Yes, let them live," the leaders continued, "but let them chop wood and draw water for the whole community." This is what the leaders said. Joshua summoned them and said this to them, "Why have you deceived us by saying we come from a place very far away, when in fact you are living right here with us? Now you have a curse on you. You will be slaves forever, supplying people to chop wood and draw water for the house of my God." They answered Joshua, "It is because we heard the reports that Adonai your God had ordered his servant Moshe to give you all the land and to destroy all the inhabitants of the land from ahead of you. So we were terrified for our lives on account of you. That's why we did this. Now, as you see, we're in your hands. Do to us whatever seems good and right to you." So Yehoshua did exactly that. He saved them from the power of the people of Israel so that they didn't kill them. But he did that same day make them choppers of wood and drawers of water for the community and for the altar of Adonai in the place which he would choose, and they remained so to this day. Chapter 10. But Adonai-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, heard how Yehoshua had taken Ai and utterly destroyed it. He had done the same to Ai and its king as he had done to Jericho and its king, and how the inhabitants of Givon had made peace with Israel and were living among them. His people became greatly alarmed, because Givon was as large as one of the royal cities, larger than Ai, and all its men were courageous. So Adonai-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, sent his messengers to Holham, king of Hebron, Piram, king of Yarmut, Japhia, king of Lachish, and Dever, king of Eglon. Come up and help me, and we'll attack Givon, because it has made peace with Yehoshua and the people of Israel. So the 5 kings of the Amori, the kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Yarmut, Lachish, and Eglon, got together, went up with all their armies, pitched camp against Givon, and made war against it. The people of Givon sent a message to Joshua at their camp in Gilgal that said, "Don't ignore your servants. Come up to us quickly and save us. Help us, because all the kings of the Amori living in the hills have gotten together to fight us." Joshua went up from Gilgal, he and all the fighting men with him, including all the bravest ones. Adonai said to Joshua, "Don't be afraid of them, for I have handed them over to you. Not one of their men will stand against you." Having spent the entire night marching from Gilgal, Joshua fell upon them, taking them by surprise. Adonai threw them into confusion before Israel and defeated them in a great slaughter at Givon, pursuing them along the road that goes up from Bet Aron, and beating them back to Azekah, and all the way to Makkedah. As they fled before Israel down the road to Bet Aron, Adonai threw huge hailstones down on them all the way to Azekah, and they died. More died because of the hail than because Israel had killed them with the sword. Then on the day Adonai handed over the Amori to the people of Israel, Joshua spoke to Adonai in the sight of Israel, and he said, "Sun, stand motionless over Givon. Moon, you too, over Ailon Valley." So the sun stood still and the moon stayed put till Israel took vengeance on their enemies. This is written in the book of Yashar. The sun stood still in the sky and was in no rush to set for nearly a whole day. There has never been a day like that before or since, when Adonai listened to the voice of a man. It happened because Adonai was fighting on Israel's behalf. Yehoshua returned with all Israel to the camp at Gilgal, but those 5 kings fled and hid themselves in the cave at Makkedah. And it was reported to Joshua that the 5 kings had been found hiding in the cave at Makkedah. Joshua said, "Roll big stones to the mouth of the cave and put men there to guard them. However, you don't wait, but keep chasing your enemies and attack those farthest in the rear. Don't allow them to return to their cities, because Adonai has handed them over to you." After Yehoshua and the people of Israel had finished killing them off in a very great slaughter, till they had been destroyed, and the remaining remnant had entered the fortified cities, all the people returned safely to Joshua at the camp in Makkedah, and no one said a word against any of the people of Israel. Then Yehoshua said, "Open up the mouth of the cave and bring those 5 kings out of the cave to me." They did. They brought the 5 kings out to him, the kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Yarmut, Lachish, and Eglon. After they had brought the 5 kings to Joshua, he summoned all the men of Israel and said to the commanders of the soldiers who had gone with them, "Come here and put your feet on the necks of these kings." They came and put their feet on their necks. Joshua said to them, "Don't be afraid or confused, but be strong and bold, because this is what Adonai will do to all your enemies that you fight against." With that, Joshua struck them and put them to death, hanging them on 5 trees, where they remained hanging until evening. At sunset, Joshua gave an order, and they lowered them from the trees and threw them into the cave where they had hidden themselves. Then laid big stones at the mouth of the cave, and there they remain to this day. Joshua captured Makkedah that day, defeating it and its king by the sword. He completely destroyed them, everyone there. He left no one, and he did to the king of Makkedah what he had done to the king of Jericho. Yehoshua went on from Makkedah and all Israel with him to Livnah, and he fought against Livnah. Adonai also handed it and its king over to Israel. He defeated it with the sword, everyone there. He left no one, and he did to the king what he had done to the king of Jericho. Yehoshua went on from Livnah, and all Israel with him, to Lachish, and he pitched camp against it, and fought against it. Adonai handed it over to Israel. He captured it the second day. He defeated it with the sword, everyone there exactly as he had done to Livnah. But then Horam, king of Gezer, came up to help Lachish. So Yehoshua attacked him and his people until he had no one left with him. Yehoshua went on from Lachish, and all Israel with him, to Eglon, and he pitched camp against it and fought against it. They captured it that very day. He defeated it with the sword, completely destroying everyone there exactly as he had done to Lachish. Yehoshua went up from Eglon, and all Israel with him, to Hebron, and they fought against it. They captured it, defeating it with the sword, including its king, its villages, and everyone there. He left no one, exactly as he had done to Eglon, but he completely destroyed it and everyone there. Yehoshua turned back, and all Israel with him, to Dever, and fought against it. They captured it, its king, and all its villages, defeating them with the sword and utterly destroying everyone there. He left no one. He did to Dever and its king as he had done to Hebron, and as he had done to Livnah and its king. So Yehoshua attacked all the land, the hills, the Negev, the Shephelah, and the mountain slopes, and all their kings. He left none, but completely destroyed everything that breathed, as Adonai the God of Israel had ordered. Yehoshua attacked them from Kadesh Barnea to Azah, and all the land of Goshen, as far as Givon. Yehoshua captured all these kings and their land and all at the same time, because Adonai the God of Israel fought on Israel's behalf. Then Yehoshua returned, and all Israel with him, to the camp at Gilgal. Chapter 11. When Yavin, king of Hatzor, heard of it, he informed Yovav, king of Madon, the king of Shimron, the king of Ashkaf, the kings to the north in the hills, in the Arava, south of Kinroth, in the Shephelah, and in the regions of Dor on the west, the Canaani to east and west, the Amori, Hitti, Prizzi, and Yevusi in the hills, and the Hivi at the foot of Hermon, in the land of Mitzpah. So they set out, they and all their armies, many people in number, like the sand at the seashore, with very many horses and chariots. All these kings met together, then came and pitched camp together at Merom Spring to fight Israel. Adonai said to Joshua, "Don't be afraid on their account, because at this time tomorrow I will hand them over, all of them, dead, before Israel. You are to hamstring their horses and burn up their chariots." So Joshua came out against them suddenly with all his fighting men and fell on them at the Merom Spring. Adonai handed them over to Israel. They attacked and chased them to Greater Tzizon, Misrephoth Maim, and eastward to the Mizpah valley. They attacked them until none of them was left. Joshua did to them what Adonai had ordered. He hamstrung their horses and burnt up their chariots. Then Joshua turned back and captured Hatzor, striking its king dead with the sword. For in time past, Hatzor had been the head of all those kingdoms. They put everyone there to death with the sword, completely destroying them. There was nothing left that breathed, and he burned Hatzor to the ground. Joshua captured all the cities of those kings, and the kings as well. He defeated them with the sword and completely destroyed them, as Moshe the servant of Adonai had ordered. But as for the cities built on their tells, Israel burned none of them except Hatzor. Joshua did burn that one. All the spoil of these cities and the livestock the people of Israel took as booty for themselves. But every human being they put to death with the sword until they had destroyed them. They left no one breathing. Moshe had given orders to Joshua, just as Adonai had given orders to Moshe, his servant, and Yehoshua acted accordingly. He did everything Adonai had ordered Moshe. So Yehoshua captured all that land. the hills, the Negev, all the land of Goshen, the Shephelah, the Arva, and the Israel hills and Shephelah, from the bare mountain that goes up to Seir to Baal Gad in the Lebanon valley under Mount Hermon. And he took all their kings, struck them, and put them to death. Joshua made war with all those kings for a long time. Not one city made peace with the people of Israel except the Hivi living in Givon. They took everything in battle, for it was Adonai who caused them to harden their hearts and come against Israel in battle, so that they would be utterly destroyed, so that they would not find favor but be destroyed in keeping with the orders Adonai had given Moshe. Yehoshua at that time came and cut off the Anakim from the land, from Hebron, Devere, and Nav, and from all the hill country of Yehuda and Israel. Yehoshua utterly destroyed them and their cities. No Anakim were left in the land of the people of Israel. Only in Asa, Gat, and Ashdod did some remain. Joshua took the whole land in keeping with all that Adonai had said to Moshe and to Israel according to their divisions into tribes. Then the land rested from war. Amen.